Hi friends. So this video I want to start off by talking about valuable, trustworthy, unbiased research that you can find online to help you make decisions. You are your own best advocate. You know your body the best. And I think one of my main issues with going to my OBGYN office or any doctor in general is that you're lumped into this group of like statistics, but they don't treat you on a one by one basis. You know what I mean? So you're kind of like lumped into like, oh, well, you're 33 and this, or, oh, you're 35, you're a geriatric pregnancy. So you're lumped into like these age groups, you're lumped into all these different things, and you're not just looked at as one case. So these couple places are places that I looked. My doula, Melissa Larson, anytime I had questions, she would be like, hey, go on to the Cochrane review and see what they say there. Because that's where you're going to get an unbiased answer to my question, because that's where they have like randomized control trials, which are huge because they are the gold standard of studies. So there's the Cochrane Review. This is a free online resource. You can access health evidence and make informed health choices. It's a database consisting of reviews mainly made up of randomized control trials, and they evaluate the effectiveness of different types of healthcare interventions. They're unbiased because they are not sponsored by any drug companies. The ACOG, this is the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. They consist of more than 60,000 OBGYNs and women's health care professional members, and they help develop tools and the collection and analysis of clinical data to support quality improvement for OBGYNs. So that's cool. The Mayo Clinic, they're in Ohio. They actually were just ranked #1 for best hospital in the nation for 2022-2023 by the U.S. News and World Report. And if you look them up online, they are actually ranked #1 in the world. So it's cool because their experts solve the world's toughest medical problems. So that's pretty cool. And then evidence-based birth. I really liked this website. I'm pretty sure it's evidencebasedbirth.com, but they are an online pregnancy and childbirth resource founded in 2012 by nurse Rebecca Decker, master's in nursing, doctor in philosophy. So she believes that there's no single way to give birth, like no single right way to give birth. So by looking at quality research evidence on the options during birth, by trusting your provider to help you navigate these options, and by understanding that every woman has a unique perspective and priority for her birth, families can truly get evidence-based care. Another really great, it didn't feel opinionated, but it's Money and Medicine. It's a 2012 documentary examining the escalating costs of healthcare in America. So they look at the dangers of overdiagnosis and overtreatment in our medical system. And it's a hospital out in Colorado, and I can't remember the name of it right now. That's the one thing I didn't write down in my notes. Talk about elective procedures and how they actually sometimes cause more harm than good, because when you start going down this road of testing for things, you find things that you probably could have lived with in your body forever and never had an issue with. But when you start fiddling around with these things, that's when they start to cause issues. So it's a very interesting movie. They have a section in there about C-sections that was very interesting, and that's the whole reason I watched the movie. So anyways, the gold standard of studies is the RCT, randomized control trial. So in any decision-making process, not even just about childbirth, but when you need evidence to inform your decision-making, this is our life. We bark all day long, and I put them outside, and they're still barking during my video. So anyway, you want the RCTs because ideally, the researchers shouldn't have any bias. They shouldn't have any vested interest in one outcome or the other. And the thing that you have to look for is repeatability. So this means that a researcher in America, a researcher in California or India or China or wherever, they could all do this trial and they would get similar results. And so the only thing that invalidates their research is repeatability. So if they cannot get similar results, 20 years goes by, doesn't mean that trial is kaput. It just, only thing that can invalidate it is repeatability. There's literature research. So this is reliable and unreliable tests. Do they lead to unnecessary interventions? The Cochrane collaboration does this for you. So they search and they publish these reviews. You got to look into those things. That's cool. So there's also observational studies. This is something I love when you go to the doctor and they're like, well, in my clinical experience, that's their opinion and that's their observation. Sorry if this ruffles any feathers, but it's not a scientific study. Your eyewitness observation in court is not reliable. So that's just an observation, honestly. Then there's data mining studies. So you go back through records and years to determine something that way. So an example in this Childbirth the Bradley Way, one of my favorite books, talks about how years ago OBs were claiming that their C-section rates were rising, but it was saving babies. So that's why they said it's okay to do a C-section. When in reality, that's when NICUs, the neo-intensive care units, came out, and they were what was saving premature babies and babies. And this seriously wrong belief that C-sections, that there was this drive for more of them, it's not okay because it's a serious surgery that increases the mother's mortality rate. Like, you can literally just type it in Google and you can find, make sure you're on a reliable source, but women in the US have the highest death rate for complications during childbirth. It's 14 per 100,000. And in Sweden and Norway, they have 4 per 100,000. You know, some potential factors could be lack of prenatal care, mainly because people don't want to go because it's expensive for our healthcare in America. They could have higher rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease. But the main issue is that women are dying from childbirth in the US, in like a developed country. I don't understand why this is not talked about more. They also have, the US has the highest rate of C-sections, 320 per 1,000 live births. And studies show elected C-sections, that means something that you just elected to do, there was no reason like medically to do it, they can increase a woman's risk for life-threatening complications during childbirth and future deliveries. 1/5 of all maternal deaths from C-section. And, you know, these people could have pre-existing conditions, but I think my main hope for people is to have a good first birth, because that dictates all future births. So many people have birth trauma from I've heard crazy stories. And most of them I hear are like failed inductions and like craziness. And if you can have a baby good the first time and like not have all these issues, then your body, like if you have a C-section the first time, a lot of doctors won't let you have a vaginal birth, a VBAC, the second time. Your body can do it, most cases, but it's just really sad because like that dictates almost the rest of your life. Like if you have trauma from giving birth, sometimes you don't want to have another baby. Sometimes you had to have a total hysterectomy in a crazy situation because all the things could happen. And so if you can have a good birth the first time, it'll really help you physically and mentally for future births. So I hope that all of you do your research. This video is way too long, and I know this is a reason why I broke it into multiple videos, but do your research. When doctors tell you something, friends tell you something, well-meaning family tells you something, that's not like the end-all be-all. Like, you have a voice. You can say no to all the things. You could just decide to stay home and have the baby in the tub. I threatened that multiple times. So you were made for this. If this is something you're passionate about, just do your research, stand your ground, and do research, because that's where you will get your ammunition when you go to the doctors and start asking questions about what they believe in their procedures and finding the right doctor for you.